People all over the world are being sold a major lie that biology is irrelevant to marriage. The truth is that human beings are one of two sexes, male or female. Marriage involves one member of each sex. Any other combination of people is not marriage.
To marry Therese, to promise to love and support her, and for her to promise the same to me in front of our families and friends, well, this is one of my happiest memories in my life. And her love and support for me over more than 30 years of marriage have meant more to me than I could ever tell. I've been thinking about the meaning of marriage for a long, long time, and I won't hide the fact that this has been a long and difficult journey for me. But here is what I know. We are at our best when we give all Australians the same dignity, the same opportunity for happiness.
But Mr. Rudd, everybody can already marry. Every man and woman in Australia has the same opportunity to marry. Find one unrelated partner of the opposite sex who's old enough. The idea marriage is not equally available to all is patently false. Marriage equality is no more than a misleading slogan.
I believe that no matter whom we love, we all should be able to make the same promise that I was able to make to Therese over 30 years ago.
Mr. Rudd's argument is simply false here. If it's no matter whom we love, then by that logic, a woman could marry two men at once, a brother could marry his sister, and an adult could even marry a child. Obviously, Mr. Rudd is being deliberately loose with the definition of marriage.
That all of us should be allowed to marry the one we love.
As already stated, that definition could mean anything. This loose definition is just a convenient way of justifying same-sex marriage. But it's invalid. It amounts to propaganda.
That's why, if I'm elected Prime Minister, I will support marriage equality legislation within the first 100 days of the Parliament.
It is not marriage equality. That's just a misleading, empty slogan. In February of 2013, a federal court judge ruled that there is no discrimination in Australia's existing marriage law. All men and women are already treated equally in regards to marriage. Mr. Rudd's view stands in contrast to expert legal opinion.
I won't force anyone on this issue.
This is a lie. The legal redefinition of marriage will be forced on every Australian. This is where Mr. Rudd is being especially deceptive. This does not just affect same-sex couples. Every Australian will have to recognise the new definition of marriage that the government will write into Australian law. Nobody can opt out of Australian law.
It will be a free vote for members of the Labor Party.
And what about us, Mr. Rudd? Do we get a say? How about a referendum? It's illuminating that those who claim that the majority of Australians are for this balk at a referendum. That means they know the majority of Australians are yet to be convinced this change in law is necessary.
So if you support gay marriage, I will need your support at this election. It's time to make things better. This
doesn't make things better, Mr. Rudd. It just panders to a vocal minority who need to understand that they can't change an age-old institution which precedes government and is critical to the health of society. Also, it deprives children of the right to have, wherever possible, a mum and a dad. Children shouldn't be guinea pigs in a social experiment. They are our future. Depriving them of the healthiest model, deliberately, is not in the interests of Australia.
It's time for marriage equality. I believe church can retain its own arrangements for marriage between a man and a woman.
Except that special exemptions for churches are meaningless because they can be taken away at any time. In fact, just that happened in Denmark recently. Also, in the UK, where same-sex marriage has been forced on an unwilling public, some LGBT activists have already started grumbling about the exemptions granted to the church.
But we, the secular state, should provide an opportunity for marriage equality for all.
Thankfully, we already have that, Mr. Rudd. The reality is, it's time to reinforce this great institution we value. Man and woman, mums and dads, and the children who benefit from it. You don't secure a future for Australia by intentionally compromising children's rights. Marriage equality is a fake slogan. Every man and woman can already marry.
I'll hope you join me in this campaign.
Marriage as an institution precedes government in Australia. It is easily the most common and central social structure that has existed, and it has always essentially revolved around a man, a woman, and children. Many people overseas recognise that same-sex marriage is not in the interests of the majority and the most vulnerable, but done to suit the tastes of a vocal minority of adults only. In France, protests of over 1 million people have been taking place as people realise what is being forced upon them and their children. Russia and some African nations have considered this issue and realised the country of human rights defends children's rights. Despite the empty and deceptive slogan of marriage equality, marriage is already available to all today in Australia. This cornerstone of social interaction is critical to our future. You cannot just redefine this central institution without major ripple effects. With our children at stake, why risk their futures on a grand social experiment?